welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Harry and Meghan escaping the palace. The newest Lifetime offering, which was a trilogy as I understand it, wasn't it?
Apparently, yeah.
It was Becoming Royal, then a royal engagement or something.
Something.
And then Escaping the Palace.
Yeah, something like that. And then I think there were William and Kate ones beforehand.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the
They're
same.
not as exciting, though.
I don't know if it was the same actors. Because I don't think I think maybe I saw one of the William and Kate ones years ago.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any of the rest of them. Let us know if you've seen all of them or any of them or this most recent one. We had to watch it, though.
Yes, we had to. Yeah. I mean, I was watching it and I kind of tweeted a little bit. So, you know, I mean, I didn't really... It was largely terrible. Largely terrible.
I mean, the title alone, Escaping the Palace, was just so dramatic that we were like, there's no way we can not watch this.
Yeah. I mean, in Escaping the Palace, it explores what really happened inside the palace that drove Harry, played by Jordan Dean, and Meghan, played by Sydney Morton, to leave everything behind in order to make a future for themselves and their son Archie. And then it details Meghan's growing isolation and sadness, their disappointment that the firm, which is what they're calling the palace insiders, they're not defending them against the press's attacks, and Harry's fear that history would repeat itself and he would not be able to protect his wife and son from the same forces that may have contributed to his mother's untimely death. There was a lot of that going on.
Yeah, so first of all,
yeah,
I think what they basically did was watch the Harry and Meghan Oprah interview, and then they just wrote...
It was a script by Scarlett Lacey, apparently, so...
Okay, well, Scarlett Lacey watched the Harry and Meghan Oprah interview.
She must have been the only one, surely.
And then just wrote a very, very basic movie.
She linked all the quotes together.
Yes.
Basically.
She just told the story that they told during the interview in movie form, basically. There was, like, nothing really else added to it, I didn't think. If you saw the interview, you've seen the movie.
Yes, basically, yeah. Nothing else really needed to be added, but they just
only
wanted
which was better acting, the interview or the movie?
We'll leave that up to you to decide. I mean, because it took you from, like, August, it took you from, like, their wedding, I guess, just after their wedding to... up to the Oprah interview. It finished on the Oprah interview.
Yeah, it was not in chronological order, though. They kept, like...
Flashbacking.
They kept flashing back.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because maybe during the previous movie, obviously they didn't know some of the things that they know now that probably happened during when the previous movie was set, so they had to...
Harry and Meghan seemed intent. Well, with that interview, they brought up a lot of crazy things, you know.
Yeah.
And you know they were really blowing it up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there was a lot that they didn't know, you know. And of course, with this new memoir that Harry's writing, which is it's going to be a tell-all. And it's almost finished, apparently, and it's going to be set for release in late 2022.
Yeah.
What's that going to be? And he's done a podcast and everything. He's been on podcasts. He's done interviews where he's just reiterated the same line of, "Oh, I had to get them out of there, and we had to get out of there, and it was terrible."
It's hilarious.
And you know,
to me, you know, they kept coming out about how intrusive the press was, and
it was I think mainly he's spun it as this is all the press's fault.
Yeah.
This is the press. The press hated Meghan. They're racist. You know, which, you know, for a good majority of some of it is true.
For a good majority of some of it, yes.
Well, some, you know, because I mean, you can't tar all
the
media with the same brush. You know, it was just certain sections of the press, shall we say, that you know, and they know who they are, and people know who they are.
Yeah.
were targeted, were motivated by, race on Meghan's part.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, he's tried to spin it now, but everybody's just like, oh no, you're the family.
Yeah.
It's your family. They're the racists, and they're the...
Well, for a while...
the bad ones.
For a while, it was like, after that Oprah interview, it was like, you couldn't shut them up. They were just... They just kept on and kept on, and it's like...
we have to tell our side of the story.
Well, it's like, do you really want privacy? Because it kind of doesn't seem like it,
Yes.
It's like when you keep jumping in front of the camera, let's say, when you keep jumping in front of the camera and waving your arms, look at me, look at me, look at me, like, how are they supposed to ignore you,
But when you look at it from another point of view, that they need money to survive now, they're not part of the royal family anymore. It's like, how else are you going to get it? She can't just go back to acting like that, and he can't just turn up at a school and say, hey, I used to be part of the royal family, isn't that cool? Let me open your school canteen or whatever, for a few dollars or whatever, it's just like, he's got to like make deals. Of course, all these people are rushing to get him because they think, oh yes, he's going to give us exclusive access to what went on. And
what was it? He said something in you said he's got a podcast. He doesn't have his own podcast, does he?
No, I don't know. They have deals.
I haven't been keeping up. No, I thought he went on someone else's podcast, which I think we mentioned in one of our own podcasts.
He's done deals with Netflix for documentaries and all this kind of stuff. Book deals, podcast deals. They're all worth a good chunk of change at the end of the day. And he's justified that by saying, I have to pay for security because people will come and get us. Nutters will come and get us. And, the family, have cut us off, and my dad's cut me off.
I think it's interesting how since they unveiled that Diana statue and he went back to Britain, they had the baby. He went to Britain for Prince Philip's funeral.
Yeah.
And then he came back. They had the baby, Lilibet, yeah. And then,
Lilibet Diana.
And then shortly after that, he went back to Britain to do that Princess Diana statue
memorial.
That they did. Yeah. Where is that? Is that?
It's in Kensington Palace.
Okay.
Isn't it? Yeah, I think so.
We haven't heard a peep since then.
And they seem to be united. William and Harry seem to be united. They've released a joint statement after that. And so far, we haven't heard really much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still gossip going on, but it's like nothing.
Not a whole lot.
Nothing really serious that
not like
the
it
palace
was there
out.
For a while. Just one thing after
one thing after another. Yeah, I think the royal family have just quietened down now. They're just like, okay, ignore this. It'll all blow over as long as Harry and Meghan keep quiet.
Yeah, but I figure they must have said something to them, like, all right, you've got to stop this now, because it's like at the end of the day, it's going to bite suddenly,
I mean, I'm sure, like, when he went back, he had like a little meeting with the firm, and they said, listen, we'll stop if you'll stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, but he's kind of like, I can't stop.
Yeah.
I've got to make money off of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're just like, okay.
There's people speculating what else, the interview.
By the way, this Lifetime movie was nothing to do with them, Harry and Meghan. It was.
No.
I mean, people might think, oh yeah, this is some. They produced this.
Except for the fact that.
See, can you imagine them playing themselves in a Lifetime movie?
Except for the fact that I wondered, because she's done Hallmark films, right? And all these Lifetime people, they're the same actors that do all the Hallmark films. I was like, I wonder if any of these people have worked with her.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But no, you can just imagine them sitting at home last night watching it with a bag of popcorn that they pop themselves in their own microwave, because it's like
they can do all that now. They don't have people to do that for them. I mean, they have security, but they can't afford servants or butlers anymore.
They got that wrong,
They got that wrong.
That's right.
That's not how it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And it'd be like, oh, why have they got that guy to shave his head strategically to look at...
Oh my God, let's talk about that now.
The actor who played Prince William, to make him look more like William, they strategically shaved the top of his head. And it was definitely a strategic shave, too.
Yeah.
Because you could see the hair wasn't like naturally receding.
No, it was just
there,
nothing, and then it was quite thick coming out of the side.
And then it was like a little thick tuft, in the front.
Yeah,
it didn't look like a natural pattern baldness.
And I have a feeling that's not that guy's natural hair color either, because the whole thing, like the way they shaved the top of his head, which I can't even believe I'm saying it because it just sounds so ludicrous.
It looked ridiculous.
It looked like they cut off the top of his head, though, because
it looked like he'd had a lobotomy.
The color of his hair, and then the way they shaved it. If you looked at it just right, it's like they just went boop the top of his head, and it's like, oh my god.
Maybe they did. Maybe they just go straight in for all these Lifetime movies. It's method acting here.
I just wonder, anybody who's seen, if he was the same actor in the early William and Kate movies, did he have hair in those? I
don't think he was. No, I don't think he was.
You think maybe it was a different person?
Yeah, because they replaced the actor who played William in the previous movie. Who played Harry in the.
Oh, really?
And I think and I think Meghan too is a different actress.
Okay.
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. You might correct us on that.
So the first thing was based basically off of that interview. The second thing was that like none of the actors are actually British. Like only a couple of them.
I think James Dreyfus was in it.
Who's that?
He was their like press man. Harry and Meghan's. And when they finally left, he had to go. He had to go, I'm going back to Downing Street.
Yeah, and we know him from The Thin Blue Line.
Thin Blue Line, he was in Gimme, Gimme, Gimme as well, of another thing. And he's done a few things since then. But yeah, no, it was a surprise to see him popping up in this. But he played their like press assistant and he was like, once they left the family, it was like, I can't go with you. I've got to go to Downing Street now and be turned into mincemeat.
Yeah. But I just hate that anytime. I hate it both directions. Like when we watch anything British and they're supposed to be American actors, you can just tell they're not American, and it's just like, really, you couldn't find one American to play this role. Like you had. Well,
it's surprising that Lifetime found. I don't think any like British actor who's up and coming
would want to be attached to that.
Would want to be attached to it because the royal family would be like, nah, you're not getting a knighthood if you get famous because you were in that bloody Lifetime movie with Harry and Meghan.
I guess they don't show these Lifetime movies in Britain because we posted a thing on Instagram. If you guys follow us on Instagram, you saw that we asked who all was planning on watching it. And a couple of our British followers were just like, that's a thing?
That's a thing?
Like, what? No.
Well, it looks like drivel to me.
Yeah.
Absolute drivel.
And it was.
It was.
To be fair, the acting, I guess, if you're just evaluating the acting.
They do show Hallmark and Lifetime movies, but I think they're coming on Netflix. Netflix has like bought them and screen, because I've seen some British followers talk about, romance with a chef or whatever, one of these crazy ones, like love,
romance with a
chef, love with a chef, or whatever, what I'm talking about, the Hallmark movies where she goes to a small town and there's a guy there and she doesn't like him at first, and then they don't like each other, but enemies, then they grudgingly fall in love. It's like, I've seen them talk about this. Oh, these are really sweet, cutesy movies, and I was like, oh, it sounds like and I've looked up the title. I was like, oh yeah, it was a Hallmark film.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have a large audience, at least. They don't make.
They have a following.
They don't make as big a deal.
They do have a following.
Okay, what was the next thing? Oh, all the references to Princess Diana.
Oh, yes.
There was a lot of references to Princess Diana.
And of course they had to, like, every time Meghan was crying, they had to, like, flash back to Diana crying and doing the same thing. Just basically, she is Diana.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next generation,
I mean, to be fair, I have never read Diana's biography, the one that apparently she gave interviews for.
Yeah, they showed another dramatization of her recording the scene for that. I thought it was going to be the infamous panorama interview.
Oh, yeah.
But no, that's...
So I didn't know. I was ignorantly unaware that she had tried to throw herself down the stairs, or was it just that she had thought about it? I don't know.
I think she thought about it. I don't think she actually did it. I'm not sure though.
Because there was a scene in the movie, in the Harry and Meghan movie, where she's standing at the top of the stairs
and thinking about doing it, and it's right before.
But she doesn't. She didn't say that in the interview, did she? Did she say she thought about throwing herself down the stairs?
She didn't say how.
Yeah,
but she was. I think it was.
I can't be left alone.
I can't be left alone, Harry.
And you guys, if you guys saw the Oprah interview and you can remember some of the direct quotes from Harry and Meghan, they use direct quotes from them in this Lifetime film. Like, yes, they had them say like exactly word for word what they said in the interview, you know. So for instance, what we were just talking about, she says in the interview, and I told Harry that I can't be left alone tonight because I don't know what I'll do or whatever. So in the movie, then she's like, Harry, I can't be left alone tonight because I don't know what I'll do.
Yes.
Something like that, you know. It's just, I don't know. It's just very...
It's, you know, it's very hack writing. Yeah. You know, it's like a story that was already told in real life that didn't need to be dramatized.
Yeah, basically that's it.
And, you know, that's what people who were... Because there was very little people critiquing it online. I found it was mostly people just, you know, going, yeah, Harry, what are you talking, you tell Charles or whatever, you know, people like...
I didn't go online and look,
but there was a couple of people going, why is this a thing, why does this need to be a biopic? You know, it's something that, you know, that happened 1.5 years ago.
Someone posted a picture, though, you showed me, that they had taken of Harry and Meghan somewhere, and they said, oh, I'm glad I got to see them before they escaped. Oh, God.
Yes.
I didn't, but yeah, I wondered if that was a British person.
Maybe.
Who said that.
Maybe it was.
And so if that's the case, then obviously they were showing it over there somewhere.
Or, you know, someone got a VPN and was watching it
live
stream of it, you know.
Oh, my gosh. To be fair, the acting wasn't terrible. It wasn't
absolutely. It wasn't Crossroads acting.
What is Crossroads?
Not the Britney Spears movie or the 1986 movie. It was a soap opera in Britain in very low budget. No. But it was like so many people watched it.
Speaking of the Britney Spears movie, I think that the acting in this was better than the Britney Spears Crossroads.
Hey, Anson Mount was in that, and he's pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
No, you know, it was like very much like low budget, fluffed lines, wobbly sets, you know.
Yeah. I was reading online that they had originally a different trailer for it before it came out, and then they had to pull it because I don't know if people were complaining about... I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't really see... I mean, there was nothing... They didn't insinuate anything shocking. Actually, I was really surprised watching it.
It was something about... the film opens with Harry having a nightmare about Meghan being killed in a car crash.
Oh, God.
And he's like...
Yeah, we missed the first, 15 minutes.
We missed the first... But a lot of, you know, when I looked at, like, a live tweet...
Oh, yeah.
It's like Harry just woke up from a nightmare where he foreseen Meghan dying in a car crash just like his mother.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I can see people writing that one off.
Oh.
Because it's like, you know, it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, that's just like...
Yeah, I just wondered
why... It's a real person who's still alive, you know?
Yeah. It's
not like this happened 400 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what Dominic said last night. He's like...
They're making a biopic about stuff that's
happened.
Very recent in people's memories.
He's like,
and can be looked up online, you know?
He's like, this just happened. It's not like it's years and years ago that, you know, we don't need this movie right now. And it's true. I think Lifetime does that all the time, though. Like,
yeah. very recent murder cases or, you
well,
know.
yeah.
Oh, it's like, oh...
Biopics about people who, you know...
were locked.
They were just
kidnapped
recently
or whatever,
in the news with some story. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they just pump it out. I don't know. Yeah, it definitely did not seem like something that took very long to write. Let's just say that. What I was going to say is that I was actually really surprised watching it at how easy they went on Kate. And I don't know what the reason for that was.
Yeah, they seem to be painting William as the villain a lot. And he came off as like a...
William was the villain in this movie.
And they were like heavily hinting, it's like, yeah, this is all you, isn't it? You know?
They didn't...
Once Harry went out of the family, William cut him off, and William was like, no, you don't want to be part of this family anymore, so I'm going to make it hard for you.
Yeah. I mean, they insinuated that some of it was because Meghan was getting more attention than Kate. I guess they did insinuate that a little bit.
The whole Meghan made me cry.
They didn't really touch that, did they?
No, because, I mean, that was one of the most pettiest bits of the interview.
Yeah.
Was to go, the reverse is also true.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, they didn't really touch that. I just thought that they were maybe going to blame a lot more of it on Kate than they actually did. And actually, Prince Charles got off very easy in this film, too. They didn't really... He was there. He was in some of the scenes. But they didn't really put much blame on him.
They don't want to risk a lawsuit, I think.
I guess so,
for defamation.
Because they didn't touch the baby's skin color issue either, did they?
No.
Yeah, they didn't.
But they're trying to heavily imply that, it was probably William who said it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, was it William or was it Charles?
Yeah,
I think it was William, don't you?
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe because William's the villain in this.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and Kate's just like, oh, maybe she's okay.
Yeah, and
maybe
the monarchy's gonna fall apart once the Queen dies because William and Kate can't hold it together.
Yeah,
and nobody wants Charles, and they would have wanted Harry and Meghan because they were coming in and they were gonna shake things up and they were gonna change the system, and it was sort of like,
well, it's like because they featured Meghan's mother in it. She said, stuff like, yeah, you're coming in here and you're expecting to change a problem that's thousands of years in the making overnight.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's probably what Diana thought too. It's just like, oh, I'm young. I'm like, wah-hey, wah-ho.
Yeah. I'll show him,
yeah. And it's like, you can only really make waves. You can't destroy them,
Yeah.
You can rock the boat a little bit, but it's like... There's too many of them, and it's like, well, it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's a very well-oiled machine that's going to, like, continue on. It's like no one person is going to come in and say, well, I'm here to show them how we do things in this century. And,
yeah.
Because everybody thought that, a lot of people...
Ted Lasso style.
Ted Lasso style. But instead of coming in with positivity, it's, I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. They're expecting me to do stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's like, what the problem is with, like, a lot of, like people who were like, oh, yeah, Meghan's American. Yeah, she's going to shake this old institution up, and they don't understand this. They're all old and white and da-da-da. And it's just like, yeah, you're underestimating them a little bit there. That's how they want you to think.
Yeah.
Oh, we're old and white and crusty, and that's
we don't know what's going on anymore.
We don't know what's going on anymore, but they know what's going on. That's how they're able. Because if they didn't know what was going on anymore, you'd be able to come in and, oh yeah, shake things up.
Yeah.
And, it's done.
Right. Like if you compared it to any business that's going under because the owners are too old.
Yes.
And they haven't kept up with modern technology or
Unfortunately,
modern ways of...
They've got people working for them.
Yeah.
It's not the family. It's not like Charles is in charge of all of this.
Right, yeah.
The Queen is. The crown will always go on, and unfortunately, you either accept that. I think John Oliver said it best when he came on. I think it was Seth Meyers, or it was somewhat Stephen Colbert, maybe. And I go, oh yeah, what do you think of this? When she was going to get married to Harry.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of all this? He goes, oh, well, I don't really think about it, but I wouldn't blame her if she turned around and got out of there. I don't think she really knows what she's signing
Ran
herself
for the
up
hills,
for.
Yeah.
I would not blame her one bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, because
she married him and she thought, oh, I'm just going to be a princess and it's going to be easy and it's going to be wonderful. There's going to be constant press attacks.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be infighting.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, you know, you're going to bear most of it because you're the public figure.
Yeah.
You know.
One of your favorite scenes though was when the Queen had to sit down with Harry and William and Charles.
And was like a boss. Really.
Yeah.
Oh, they call her that anyway, apparently. They call her, oh, we've got to go see the boss.
She was giving him a real reaming.
And she was like, oh, this is disgraceful, you know, how could you have let this happen? And, oh, no, we're going to have to sort things out. And,
yeah.
And you. Yes.
Yeah. And you don't feel like she probably talks to them like that.
No, I mean, she probably only talks to them when something bad is... I mean, maybe she did it to Harry.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling she probably did it to Harry and Meghan.
Mm.
She was like, oh, what's all this about? You know, what are you doing, you know?
Yeah.
Because you know how this looks.
Yeah.
And it probably wasn't but mainly, I think, HR at the palace. It's not her that gives them the serious talking to. It's like people who come in and go, what have you done here now? See what we're going to have to do now? Yeah. This is all your fault, and you're going to have to do this and da-da-da. You want out of the palace? Why do you want to do that? What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Well, like you were saying before about the people working in behind the scenes, not the family, the firm. Yeah, like they show in The Crown, they kind of hand those jobs down. So the people who come up.
They come up and they're ex-military.
Well, they've been well trained. They know
ex-military people. Yeah,
they know all the histories of everybody. They know everything that's gone on with everyone because they've been training for that job basically for their whole life. It's been handed. It's been passed down to them once the other person has retired.
You know, like going.
Who knows if that's still the case? I mean, I think sometimes they do fire someone.
Yeah, they become civil servants, but they're usually ex-military types who are adjusted to that way of life of like keeping things running. Mm-hmm. Got to keep order. Yeah. You know, like Tommy Lascelles was a major. You know. Yeah. And, you know, he became aided, and it's a very distinguished position, and, you know, yes, Her Majesty, and da-da-da-da.
Well, they are in the business of keeping that family... Going.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're propping them up.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you keep freaking kicking at the props, they're going to be like, no.
I mean, realistically, if we're just talking about just the actual human beings that make up the royal family, they probably might not actually mind if they weren't, you know, the royal family anymore.
I imagine a lot of them wouldn't. Other than the fact that they wouldn't get to do what they wanted to do.
Well, other than the fact that they just wouldn't really know how to function in everyday life. You know?
No.
I think that would probably be the only thing that... I would say most of them wouldn't mind getting a job. Most of them wouldn't mind getting a job and letting their kids go to public school and, you know, having to...
But this is the job.
See people and talk to people. No, but I mean like a job like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they would mind, but they just wouldn't know how to... I don't know, you know, it's a very weird concept to think about.
Because, I mean, you know, it's like, he's not going to, you know, like you were saying to Harry, oh, yeah, he's not going to go get a job at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Right now, if something serious happened and they had no money.
Yeah.
Like all the money was taken away, all interest went away from him.
As tacky as I think it would be, I would be very interested, and I would definitely watch a reality show if they got one, because I am beyond curious to know how he is living everyday life in just a regular old mansion in California. You know, you can't even say house because it's like a big mansion like what celebrities live in.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
but it's not what he's used to. You know, it's not a palace. It's not multiple palaces all over the country, you know.
I think largely... like William and Kate, their job provides for them, being royals. And they're largely, these, we saw Kate out at Waitrose.
Yeah. Here's a picture of Kate
pushing the shopping trolley at Waitrose. And, she's getting, the food in for the week.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, they're kind of like normal-ish. Because people think like, they have all these servants and they're cut off from the outside world.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's going on,
Yeah.
But... it's like now...
Well, I think Charles is a little bit in touch with the way...
He's tried to modernize the royal
with
family,
the way the public views them.
Yes.
So he's like, we need to cut down on we need to cut down on the number of people that are serving us.
The number of people that are serving us, and the number of family members that are just...
Doing nothing.
And, earning money for it.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think that the public would be a little bit more appreciative of that. I mean, I guess
some people are.
I guess they're not, because it's just like,
they just want to do away with all of them.
There's no middle ground.
We don't need them.
There's no
They're not needing us. You know?
There's no middle ground. There's no like, let's cut back. Like, let's just get rid of them altogether.
Yeah,
who cares? They've cut back, Poor them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. Anyway, we've
gone all over the place.
We've gone all over the place with this. Let us know if you watched it. We do not blame you if you did not, because it was not the best.
It was not the best movie ever. There's better written shows out there, like Ted Lasso.
But we felt like we had to anyway. So, and it was mildly entertaining, if not just in a this is terrible kind of way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But I like terrible Lifetime movies. Dominic, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I just, once
I tend to get sucked in on a Saturday every once in a while.
Once you figure it out, it's done, Very, very rare for me to get sucked into a Lifetime movie.
But let us know if you watched it, if you've seen any of them, or if you wouldn't go near any of this series.
Yes.
And thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciate your support. Be sure to check us out on social media. We are at TButty, TEABUTTY on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we'll talk to you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.